Hi, welcome to my video on quadratic word problems. And this video has extra problems. But before I start this video, in the previous video on area, page 204, number B, I did the area of the parking lot, but I want to do it a different way. I already did it one way by adding up the area of the building to the area of the parking lot. But what I want to do now is do it different. Let's take the building 45 by 15. This is a parking lot of uniform width around it. So if I divide the parking lot into three pieces, the parking lot itself, this part of the parking lot has an area of length times width. So that's 15 times x, which is 15x. This area of the parking lot here is the same, so that's 15x. And the area of this piece of the parking lot is 45 here, plus x, so this total length down here is the same as this length up here, so that's going to be 2x plus 45. And the width is x down through, so the area of this piece of the parking lot is length 2x plus 45 times the width of x, and the area of this piece is 2x squared plus 45x. So if you add all these areas up, the area of the parking lot is 15x, add on 15x, add on 2x plus 45. And to simplify that, I get a 2x squared, and 15 and 15 and 45 makes a 75. 30 plus 40 is 75x. So that means if the parking lot has an area of 425, that means that 2x plus 75 is equal to 425. So 2x squared plus 75x minus 425 equal to 0. So if you check that equation that I did in the previous video, I derived the equation by adding up the areas, and I still came to this equation, 2x squared plus 75x minus 425 equals 0, and I solved it by the quadratic formula. So just check that out, and two ways to do it. And let's do some extra problems. There we go. Find the value of x and y in a system of equations. So y equals x minus 1. X times y plus 5x equals 21. Now x times y is a quadratic because the degree is 1 and 1, so the degree of this is 2. And the degree of this equation here is linear because that's a 1 and a 1. So I want to find the values of x and y. So what I'm going to do is sub this. Y is equal to x minus 1. So I'm going to take this equation here, and I'm going to sub x minus 1 into y. When I sub x minus 1 in the place of y, I have all x's in my equation. So simplify, I get x squared minus x plus 5x equals 21. So x squared plus 4x equals 21. So x squared plus 4x minus 21 equals 0. Move the 21 to the left, make it negative. And again, I got an x squared, so hopefully it's factorable. X and x squared is x and x. The product is negative 21, which is right there. The sum is 4. So what are the factors of 21 to give you 4? 1 and 21 won't give you 4. It'll give you 22 or a 20 if you add or subtract them. I got 3 and 7. 3 and 7 will give me a 4. So let's put a 7 and a 3 in. The product is negative and the sum is positive. So I must have a plus 7 minus 3. So x plus 7 equals 0, or x minus 3 is equal to 0. So x is equal to negative 7, or x is equal to 3. And if x is equal to negative 7, there's just one answer for x, then y is equal to x minus 1. So when x is negative 7 minus 1 is negative 8. So a value of x is negative 7 and y is negative 8 is one pair. And what about when x is 3? So y equals x minus 1. X is 3, so 3 minus 1 is 2. So when x is 3, y is 2. So there's two pairs of numbers, negative 7 and negative 8, or 3 and 2. Well, the values of x that'll fit this system of equations, simultaneous equations. Let's do another one. Again, you can pause the video at any time and work out these questions and see if you get them right before I do. The volume of a right cylinder is 150 pi cubic feet. The volume is 3 dimensions, so it's cubic. The height is 6 feet. The diameter of the base is 2x minus 6 feet. Find the value of x. So what we have is, let's look at, we have a right cylinder, which looks like this. And the right cylinder has a height, and it has a radius on the bottom, or diameter. And the volume of a right cylinder, volume is base area times height. And the bottom of a cylinder is a circle, so it's pi r squared h. So the volume, formula for the volume of a cylinder is pi r squared h. So we have the volume. So we have the volume is 150 pi. And we have the height, so the height is 6. And we need the radius, but the diameter, so if the diameter is 2x minus 6, then the diameter is equal to 2r. So 2r is equal to 2x minus 6. Divide by 2, so the radius is x minus 3. So the radius is x minus 3. So if we sub that into the equation, let's see. The volume is pi r squared h. So the volume is 50 pi. We got a pi. The radius is x minus 3. I'm going to square it because we sub in r, x minus 3, and the height is 6. So if we simplify, we get 150 pi. These are two monomials, so that's 6 pi x minus 3 squared. And if I divide both sides by 6 pi, the 6 pi's cancel, so I get x minus 3 squared. The pi's cancel, and 150 divided by 6 is 25. So let's go up here and look at that equation further. So we got an x minus 3 squared equals 25. So let's do the square root of each side. And when I do, I got a plus minus the root of 25. So the square root of x minus 3 squared is x minus 3. Plus minus square root of 25 is 5. So x equals 3 plus or minus 5. X equals 3 plus 5, or 3 minus 5. So x equals 8, or negative 2. And the x is negative 2. We check it out. If you put a negative 2 back in here, or here, or here, if you put a negative 2 here, then the radius becomes negative 5. So the negative 2 won't fit because we get a negative radius. So the x value is 8. And we had to find the value of x, so the value of x is equal to 8. And the radius would have been x minus 3, which would have been 8 minus 3. The radius would have been 5 feet, but we only needed the value of x. And let's continue. Another problem. Again, pause your video and work this one out. Notice we have a triangle, A, B, C, if the line going down. The perimeter of triangle ABC has a perimeter of 32. AB equals AC equals x plus 2. So these are equal. That's an x plus 2, and that's an x plus 2. Fill that in. AF is x. AF is x. BC is 2y. So BC is 2y. That's from there to there. And AF is perpendicular to BC. AF is perpendicular to BC, so there's a right angle right there. It says find the values of x and y. Well, we did some work in the previous units on this in geometry, but we didn't have any quadratics to work with. So let's check. The parameter is 32. So the parameter is 32. And the parameter of this figure is x plus 2, add on x plus 2, add on 2y. So x plus 2, and 2y. So the parameter is, if you add them up, you get 2x plus 2y plus 4. So that means that 2x plus 2y plus 4 equals 32. So we have, notice we have x and y values, so we have to solve this equation, and I normally solve the equation for x, solve it for y in terms of x. So that means we have 2x plus 2y equals 32 minus 4. 2x plus 2y equals 32 minus 4 is 28. And I'll solve it for y, so the 2x moves to the right to become negative. And we divide all terms by 2. So y is equal to negative x plus 14. And what happens here, we got what y is, but let's look at this diagram now. Since these two sides are equal, that means these two angles are equal by what we call ITT, isosceles triangle theorem. That means that these triangle AFC and AFB are congruent, because these two angles here are right angles. These two angles are equal because of ITT, and these sides are equal here given. That means these AFB is congruent to AFC. That makes this side equal to this side in each of the triangles. So if that's a 2y, and these are equal, that means that must be a y, and that must be a y, because the triangles are congruent. That means that we have y is equal to x, or negative x plus 14. So this is a negative x plus 14, and this is also negative x plus 14. That means, if we think about it, we have a right triangle. Let's take the triangle AFC. This is x plus 2. This is negative x plus 14. And this side is x. And we know, or should know, that c squared equals a squared plus b squared, the Pythagorean property of a right triangle. The hypotenuse is opposite the right angle, so that's c plus 2 squared. A is the x, and b is the negative x plus 14 squared. So that's c, and that's the a, and that's the b. And we take our time, and we use the FOIL on we write it down twice so we won't make an error. And so we have, make sure, okay, so that gives us x times x is x squared, x times 2 is 2x, 2 times x is 2x, 2 times 2 is 4, x squared, and we have negative x times negative x is x squared, negative x times 14 is negative 14x, 14 times negative x, negative 14x, and 14 times 14 adds up to give me a 192. Or sorry, 14 times 14. 14 times 14 is 196. When we square it out, you can use your calculator. And let's simplify each side. We got x squared plus 4x plus 4. And we got 2x squared minus 28x plus 196. And now that we have each side simplified, let's move them all on one side. So we have x squared minus 2x squared plus 4x plus 28x and plus 4 minus 196 equals 0. So the 2x squared moved to the left to become negative. The negative 28 moved to the left to become positive. And the positive 196 moved to the left to become negative. And that gives me negative x squared plus 32x minus 192 equals 0. Because I have a negative, I multiply all terms by negative 1. So it's x squared minus 32x plus 192 equals 0. And can you get all the factors of 192 to give me negative 32? Well, it's just as well to go to what I call the quadratic formula. And that will give me the answer pretty fast. So A is 1, B is negative 32, C is 192, and that gives me the negative of negative 32. B is negative 32. 4. A is 1. C is 192. And all over 2 times A, 2 times 1. So that gives me 32 plus or minus. If you plug this in the calculator and work it out, type it in exactly as you have it there, then you will get a 256 all over 2. So that's 32, and the square root of 256, and this is 16 over 2. So we want the values of x and y, so we continue. 32 plus 16 over 2, or 32 minus 16 over 2. And this gives me 48 over 2, or that's 16 over 2. So the numbers there are 24 or 8. 24 or 8. Let's check 24. If we put 24 in here, or if you think about it, 24 gives me a 10. 24 in here gives me negative 24, and 14 is 10. But 24 in the triangle, notice you get 24, that's a 26. That'll be a 26. That's more than 32, so we can't use 24. We can only use the 8. 24 is too much for the parameter. So x is 8, so y equals negative x plus 14. So y equals negative 8 plus 14. So y is equal to 6. So the values of x are, x is 8, y is 6, to make this true about the triangle. Okay, let's continue. And we have a rectangular box, has a height of 2 centimeters, and the base has dimensions of x plus 4 and x plus 2 centimeters. The volume of the box is 96 cubic centimeters. Find the dimensions of the box. Well, let's draw a rectangular box and see what we have. The way I draw it. This is the inside of the box that we can't see, so I use broken line, dotted line. So the height of the box is 2. The bases are x plus 4 and x plus 2. We know that the volume of the box is length times width times height, where the volume is base area times height, and the base is a rectangle, which is length times width. We're given that the volume is 96 cubic centimeters. So we have the volume is 96, the length is x plus 4, the width is x plus 2, and the height is 2. So we want to simplify this. We can divide by 2 if we want to. We divide by 2 right away. The 2's cancel, and I get x plus 4, x plus 2 equals 48. So let's change that around now. X plus 4, x plus 2 equals 48. Because I can flip the whole equation. I can make the left side and the right side total flip, and everything is okay. Do FOIL, I get x squared plus 2x plus 4x plus 8 equals 48. First, outside, inside, last gives you all these, and simplify it. Here we go. It's simplified, and that gives, I have to bring the 48 over, make it a minus 48. So it's x squared plus 6x minus 40 equals 0. So the product is negative 40. The sum is 6. So we want to factor this. If we can't factor, we're going to use the quadratic formula. What are the factors of 40 to give me a 6? So I got 1 times 40, 2 times 20, 4 times 10. Now we're looking for the product is 40, and they differ by 6. So, and I got a 5 times 8. Which pair gives me a 6? The one that gives me a 6 is this one. 1 and 40 adds up to give me 41 or 39. If you subtract, add 22, subtract again 18. So it's an x and an x, a 10 and a 4. Because the product is negative, we have to have a plus and a minus. The sum is positive, so it's a positive 10, negative 4. X plus 10 equals 0. X minus 4 equals 0. X is equal to negative 10, or X is equal to 4. And we had to find the dimensions of the base. So negative 10. If we put a negative 10 in the base right here, we get a negative 6. We can't have that. So negative 10 we can't use, but we can use the 4. So x plus 4 is 4 plus 4, which is 8. And the other part of the base is x plus 2, so it's 4 plus 2, which is 6. So the dimensions of the base is the length is 8 and the width is 6. And it's all in centimeters. Okay, hopefully, notice you end up with a quadratic, and you solve the quadratic by either factoring or quadratic formula, or whatever way you want to go. And we have a problem here. This, the last one, the last page. H is the height, T is the time. Let's see. H is negative 16t squared plus 64t plus 80. Represents the height of an object after a certain length of time. So the object is thrown up into the air, and right here it is negative 16 is the force of gravity working on it. And H is height in feet, and time is in seconds. It says, let's work out some of these questions. Find the initial height. And if you think about an object thrown in the air, like an object, if you think about this, for instance, if the object is thrown into the air, well, I'll draw the diagram after I get this done. The initial height is when your time is 0. So that means you can plug in 0 in the place of t in the equation. In other words, the initial height is when it hasn't been thrown yet. So that's 0 squared 0 minus 16 is 0. 64 times 0 is 0 plus 80. So the initial height is 80 feet when the time is 0 because it hasn't been thrown yet. So that means if you got an object and here's the here's the time as the x-axis, and here's the height as the y-axis. Y equals, and this is x, but x, if we make the horizontal axis t and the height h, so that means that the object is thrown from 80 feet in the air. And remember, it goes up like this, and then it comes down and it hits the ground. So that's the path. So that means that at 0 gives me 80. So the object is 80 feet off the ground when it's thrown. When does the object hit the ground? Well, the object hits the ground. When the object hits the ground, the height is 0. So that means we take the equation and put 0 in for height. So we can go negative 16t squared plus 64t plus 80 equals 0. Again, when it hits the ground, the height is 0. Now we divide by negative 16. Why? 16 into 64 goes 4. 16 into 80 goes 5 times. So we get t squared minus 4t minus 5. And we divide by negative 16 into 0. It gives 0. Notice that we have a quadratic. Let's see if it's factorable. T squared is a t and a t. Factors of 5 are 5 and 1. Product is negative, sum is negative. So it's a negative 5 plus 1. So that means t minus 5 equals 0. T plus 1 equals 0. That means that t is equal to 5, or t is equal to negative 1. And we can't have negative time, so the official time when it hits the ground is 5 seconds. And that's 5 seconds. So you think about it like this, right here, there's 5. And this is the height. This is the height of the parabola. The vertex is up right here, the highest point on your parabola. And again, notice, if you extend this axis out here in terms of time, then the time, we can't have negative time. So if we draw this parabola coming down like this, yes, this is the negative 1, but we can't have it in the real world. A parabola can do this, but we can't have negative time of negative 1. So we have to ignore negative 1, and 5 seconds is over right here when it hits the ground. Find the time, and the height is 128. So we have to put 128 in terms of time. So, 128 is the height in terms of h. So I rewrite the equation, and in the place of h, I'll put 128. So the height is 128. Solve it in the equation and work it out. So I have negative 16t squared plus 64t plus 80 minus 128 equals 0. Negative 16t squared. So I'm just trying to simplify the equation now. Gives me a negative 48. And again, I can divide by negative 16. I didn't want to make the question too difficult. So t squared, and that's a minus 4t plus 3 equals 0. So 64 divided by negative 16 is negative 4. Negative 48 divided by negative 16 is 3. And again, happens to be factorable. T squared is t and t. Factors of 3 are 3 and 1. The product is a positive 3 and the sum is negative, so it has to be negative and a negative. So that means that t minus 3 is equal to 0, or t minus 1 equals 0. So t is 3, or t is 1. That's the time that reaches the height of 128. So 1, if that's 1 right here, right there, and 3 is right there. So notice the height, the object goes up into the air, hits the height of 128, which is right there. And that happens at 1 and 128. And it also happens right here when the time is 1 and 128. So it happens twice. once on the way up to get to the top and on the way down. So these are the 2 times to have the height of 128. Number 4, find the time when the height is 144. So we let the equation, we put 144 in the place of h. Matter of taking your time, and so 144 is going in, and we do the equation exactly the way we did number 3. Just take our time. 144 moves over to become negative, and 144, that's a minus 64 equals 0. 80 subtract 144 is the negative 64. We divide by negative 16. And we get t squared minus 4t plus 4 equals 0. And that's factorable. T and t. The factors of 4 to give you 4 are 2 and 2. The product is positive and sum is negative. It must be 2 negatives. So it's t minus 2 equals 0. Or t minus 2 equals 0. T is 2. T is 2. Notice the time. So this time of 2 is the same. So that means that must be that point right there on the parabola. This point right here is t is 2. Notice. And the height is 144. That's his vertex. It only hits this at 2 seconds. It hits the height of 144, the highest point the object is in the air. So the time for this one to get that height is 2 seconds, which is his vertex, which is 2, 144, because the time is the same. It's, notice, this is the vertex. It's symmetrical with respect. So it's 2 seconds to go up to here, 2 seconds to come down to the 80. So that means that's a 480. And there's 1 more second to drop to 0. So that's a few extra problems. Now I call them extra on the quadratics. Think about it. Hopefully your idea, what I'm trying to show you, is you understand. If you do, perfect. If you like my video, click the like button, the subscribe button, notification bell. Visit my website, www.mathfullyexplained.com, to find more information about me, my videos, and the content. And that's the content that's on my YouTube channel called Math Fully Explained. Thank you for viewing my video. Bye-bye.